All right, well, I guess we missed some updates from Shudder and Hive, but they are on the meeting minutes anyways. All right, so let's move on to Ethereum/tests.
Hi, so Marcos this week is partially offline. So as he mentioned to me, there is no significant update for now. He needed to focus on some other things last week, as urgent stuff. So nothing for now.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's move on to client updates then. Nethermind.
Yeah, can take that one as well. So nothing in particular for now. For 4.4s, Anders, who was working on that, needed to switch to 7.702 for now. So he's working on that, and we are seeking for some. We already have someone else who will be working on 4.4s moving forward. Marek can explain.
Yes, I think I found the right person, but I need to agree with the team. So
It's not
new hire, just internal work. So I think Ashraf will be able to take care of it, and it means that we will have it very fast if it will be Ashraf. But I need to agree with others that we need to do that, because generally Ashraf is already working on 4.4s, but for portal integration, but he could do generally 4.4s in Nethermind. Because Anders is slightly busy with 7.702, and later I would like him to review Shatter. Yeah.
Yeah, so I missed the meeting last week, but this 4.4, are you planning to run a portal node? Like, how are you going to distribute the data? Did you solve this problem? Because this is something we were discussing with the guest team, and we don't have a very good answer for now.
Yes,
we are implementing Portal in Nethermind, and we have a basic implementation that can connect and send messages, and working now on the serialization of the data types.
Okay, and out of curiosity, if you have Portal working for Gnosis Chain, does every client have to implement Portal, or can we just run never support 4.4s?
Okay, so first of all, I think we on the past meetings we agreed that for Gnosis Chain we might be happy with torrents approach.
Yeah, exactly. The plan was not to use Portal and to make it simpler with torrents. Yeah.
Yes. So and maybe later we will do Portal network integration as well for Gnosis Chain. But it means that if we have fully working ERA exports and imports, then we could consider dropping history for Ethereum mainnet and for Gnosis mainnet, and it should be good enough. So for that, we need to do some testing. We need to make sure that this format works, and I guess we could try to drop pre-merge history as a first step. But we will see what will be the status of Portal network on mainnet, etc. Before we do that. But we can progress with this for sure. We don't have blockers. What do you think, Ian?
I mean, my biggest issue is that that was still an open question that was debated with the guest team. We kind of, we would like to have Portal, but we're not sure it's going to be there on time. So our main idea was to start getting it from BitTorrent, but there are pros and cons of doing BitTorrent. So there's no definitive answer, which is where I'm panicking a bit, because if every Nethermind node implements this stuff, they won't be able to serve all the blocks, and Geth won't be able to even to snap sync, because snap sync starts with downloading blocks. So that's where I'm trying to figure out how.
Don't worry yet. We are still quite far from enabling on mainnet, for example, or either Gnosis, right? So it's still work in progress.
Okay, well, I guess we'll cross this bridge when we get there. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, go ahead, Marek.
Yeah, quick question, Guillaume. Do you plan to kind of integrate BitTorrent to client, or just assume that user will provide you files and what's your plan here, or no plan?
Yeah, there's no plan currently. We're still thinking what is the best method, because torrent, yeah, it's got some of its some issues of its own, which I would not be able to explain, but Peter and Felix were arguing a bit over this one. So yeah, that's why I'm a bit worried, because clearly it's going to take us some time to figure out what the best thing is.
I think it would be a good topic to discuss on the main core devs about it also. Yeah, but I also see Portal as like the end game for, especially for mainnet. Gnosis Chain, maybe it's easier to go with torrents.
But generally, what do you think about dropping receipts? Because, okay, I understand that the blocks might be problematic because you won't recreate history, but the first step could be dropping receipts. If we lose them, then if we have blocks, then we can recreate history. So it shouldn't be big issue with dropping receipts.
If you're asking me, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I generally was asking. Yeah, Geth team. So great.
Yeah, so I think the general opinion in the Geth team is that we want to drop them, especially Marius. I think no one else really, likes them anyway. Likes storing them.
All right. Sorry, we can move on with other topics.
All right. I guess Alex joined, but left already, so all good. Yeah, let's move on to Erigon then, unless was there something else for Nethermind?
Yeah, I think that's all. We are working on Pectra, merging Pectra to master, because we have some internal mess, let's say, with many PRs. Yeah.
Erigon?
Yeah, so we are also working on Pectra, and we are working on Erigon 3. So last week we released Alpha 3 of Erigon 3, and also we released on Monday, a couple of days ago, we released 2.60.7, so it's a patch release of Erigon 2. And we are overhauling our Docker Docker image publishing. So we are moving, like previously our Docker images were published under Thorax Docker Hub. Now we are moving to Erigon Tech. So yeah, it's more consistent. And we are also removing the V prefix from our versions. So yeah, it'll be just 2.6.7 instead of V 2.60.7.
Yeah, I read that on the last release. I think that's great. And also, like, the manifest is so that you don't have different versions for different architectures and things like that.
So the Docker image now has two architectures. It supports it has AMD 64 level 2. So level 2 is basically it is supported by most CPUs. Like pre-level 2 CPUs, I don't know, they are ancient, they're probably irrelevant. So yeah, so AMD 64 level 2 and ARM 64 as well.
Awesome. Yeah, what's up with the Alpha 3 release? What does it add?
So I think it's mostly Okay. So now we have the sync time is further reduced because we previously in Alpha 2 the indices for our snapshots were built individually by each node. Now they are also downloaded. So then then there was there were performance optimizations and bug fixes.
And what about the v2.60.7 release?
Yes, so there it's so there were some Kaplan stability improvements and also a couple of bug fixes to the RPC. It's let me see. So trace yes, there was a PR to change to fix incorrect state diff balances in trace call. I think yeah, maybe is Somnat on the call? So maybe I think Somnat can maybe talk about it. Oh no, I don't see him. But you can check our release notes.
Yeah, I'll add this here. All right. Geth, any updates?
Not a big one. I'm still doing the rebase. So yeah, last week I was the guest team. We were discussing about what changes we want to do to Geth, including make some progress on PageRank 4844. Sorry, 4444. And yeah, there's currently, so I know there were a couple patches that I really want to grab in before I start yeah, fixing the shadow sync and shadow block production again, which were published around April this year. So I'm currently between April and like I'm going from version 1.14.1 to 1.14.2. It's a bit of a it's a huge change. I'm currently doing this rebase. When this is done, I can jump to 14.1.3, which is I think the one that should be good enough for testing. Yeah, so that's yeah, no big announcement, but some progress.
1.14.3 or what did you say?
Yeah, if I recall correctly, 1.14.3 is the one that had all the fixes that I'm looking for.
Okay. Rest. Hi.
Yes. So I've been focusing with the REST team on improving their extensibility patterns. There was a bug that caused the produced blocks to not be accepted by REST itself due to different code paths. And it's just like silly way of organizing the code and how you declare the not how you declare it. It's like you're forced to basically add an insane amount of boilerplate just to modify slightly the system calls, and I think we can do it better. So I'm working on a proposal for them to make this more extensible, and it should be good. It will duplicate a bunch of code even in their own like optimism fork, things like this. And yeah, besides that, I guess if we are done, I want to talk about naming. So we have changed EIP 4844 in this fork because we're gonna not burn the fees, but instead transfer them to a collector address. So far, this has happened in the past. Again, there was a case in 2019 where Gnosis Chain enabled EIP 1283 when Ethereum did not, then disable it and then re-enable it with a different spec. And in the specs that we have right now, the IP is named the same, so it's kind of confusing, but it refers to the same IP. And now kind of the same is happening with EAP 4844. We have the modified version of EAP 4844 that we did on the Encun, and we'll have a different version of the same EIP that will be enabled on Spectra. So in the PR that I shared, I'm calling this EIP 4844B. But I'm not super proud of this. About GIP. Yeah. But I guess we have the same problem.
Already something else, which then, like, more general for Gnosis, so maybe not that, but...
So even if we call it GIP, we still have the same issue, because we have two different specs that refer to the same upstream EIP, but they are slightly different. Just say that if we now have the pattern of whenever we have a change for Gnosis that's different from Ethereum, we just take the numbers. True. So EIP 4844 GNO, that would be fine, but it's still the same issue. Which one? So we called EIP 4844 GNO to the one that we're gonna do now, or the one that we did on the Encun, and how we differentiate between the two. I don't know. We could call them prime, because I expect this is not gonna happen often. This is like, yeah, and I mean it's hard. Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm not looking for answers, but I had the hope that someone had a nice idea, stroke of genius on the call, and we could get over with this. GCIP. Yes, the problem is not the prefix. The problem is the suffix. So we have two versions of the same thing.
Yeah,
and we need to differentiate them.
Well, just call it dash fixed.
I mean, that's what I did originally. It looks like shit, but sure.
Or just maintaining our numbers and in the title of EAP reference to mainnet EAP. So, for example, I don't know, it will be called GIP or GCIP, and we will provide number basically. So, I don't know, what do you think? Because in the future we might modify it one more time, whatever.
I mean, I don't expect this to happen often. Like the only time we had two versions of the EP was the same thing for an issue in timing, and now it was an issue in spec. So I don't expect that to happen too often. And I guess having a mapping of numbers, I think it will make tracking the fork overly complicated for little game. It's kind of nice to just refer to the things. And if there is a point that we start to significantly diverge, then sure.
I mean, the EIP 4844 thing should not happen that often. We can just like dash V2 it or something, and then good enough, no? Although I do quite like Guillaume's proposal.
Which one?
Yeah, it's a terrible name. Don't do it. That was just a joke.
4844. Isn't it taken?
No, at least it's not a core EIP. It hasn't been accepted.
It's not taken. It's not taken.
Really?
Yeah.
But anyways, it is still quite dumb. So.
I mean, I like V2 more than just D.
Yeah, it's fine. It would basically never happen, right? So.
Or in the text of the given EAP, we will add, I don't know, additional fork, and we solve that in this way.
Additional text? What do you mean?
Yeah, so in the description of EIP, we will describe exactly that this EIP is I don't know, provided in 2 forks, and in the first fork it was like this and that, and in the second we introduced this blob-based fee collector because it's clearly for documentation rather than for anything else. I don't know.
Well, I guess in the case of EAP 1283, that's if you want to implement pre-merge Aura, you have to know about that.
Yeah, but you can just go to EIP 1283, like on the Gnosis Chain / specs, and then
because the problem is the EIP that's spec'd is the last one, but the original EIP that was enabled for 2 months is not spec'd anywhere.
it's also not spec'd in the actual EIP. Or
well, I haven't been able. How did you do it, Guillaume? Like, where did you find the changes that were enabled during the 2 months? What changed during that time? I don't know, to be honest.
During what? Sorry.
So on the first fork of Gnosis, Constantinople, that happened on January 11, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
EIP 1283 was enabled, and then in a subsequent fork in March of that same year, there was another fork that disabled that version of the EIP. Then in Istanbul, on December of the same year, the same EIP but with a slightly different implementation was enabled again.
Yeah. Yeah. How did I find that? I just read the code, so yeah, it was not documented anywhere. If that's the question.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, where did you find the spec for the original version of 1283?
Yeah, I didn't find it. I just looked at somebody's code. So it should really be asking the other 2 clients, because that's the code I read.
Okay.
okay, so this is very bad and should definitely be documented. I guess I would just have like one GCIP whatever 1283 on our Gnosis Chain / specs repo, and then just say there were 2 versions, one at that fork or at that hard fork whatever, and one then it was disabled and then re-enabled again, and then there are differences or something like that. I don't know.
Or we can suffix the name of the EIP with the fork that it got activated, and then clarify in the spec. The version of the EIP in this fork had this spec. The version of this EIP in this fork was the spec that is equal to the one defined in the Ethereum EIPs.
Yeah, something like a main EIP something, and then link it to 3 different ones, or well, I guess 2 different ones. Here you list, like in the main EIP, you list when it was activated, deactivated, and reactivated, and then you link to 2 different ones that are Constantinople and I don't even know how it's called, it's spelled, whatever. And then which one was the other one? I don't remember.
London. Istanbul.
And then, yeah. But maybe that's not great if we do a hard fork that is not like a specific upstream hard fork. Like, for example, if we wanted to do a smaller one for EIP 4844 to enable the blob fee thing, then we are not going to name it, right? Like the hard fork, I mean.
Yeah, then
but I think
that's a problem for another time.
P1, P2 is okay.
If we're gonna do a fork for a small EIP, we can still give it a name. So the fork doesn't have to be nameless.
I think V1 and V2 is fine too, and then we can just say the main EIP, like we enabled it at that hard fork, and then I mean, I think it doesn't really matter, all things to consider. It's maybe this way or the other way.
Yeah.
But what does matter is that it has to be documented for sure, which is not the case currently.
Yeah.
But that's great that we learn about this now.
By the way, I think Dimitros started documenting those differences after we had this meeting, but I think it is on our internal Notion. So I think, Dimitri, you can share with others as well later after this call.
Yeah, I will publish Notion page and share the link.
Yeah, it would be great to share this and then for sure document it more, especially now that we are adding 2 more clients. All right, anything else to discuss? I guess not. All right, well then, thanks everyone for joining, and see you next week, I guess, although who is going to token 2049? If there's too many, we might have to cancel.
Where is it?
Singapore.
Oh, then no.
I mean, I'm going, so I'll see. Maybe I will have to delegate this call, but yeah. I mean, we can also talk about this on Telegram. All right. Well, yeah. Then see you next week, or maybe not. But anyways, we'll keep you posted on Telegram. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.